Hello everybody and welcome back to the Three at the Back podcast. I'm your host Darren and I'm joined once again by my buddies Scott and Paul. This is season 2 of the podcast. We've upgraded, we've improved, we've got camera equipment, we've got a nice little microphone here, we've got a lovely little quiet setting as well, so hopefully you'll be able to hear every word that we're saying. Let's address the elephant in the room real quick. We went quiet over the pandemic. We did try to keep it up with the the online chats and stuff like that, keep everybody involved. I think really just
my dodgy Wi-Fi let us down.
Yeah, dodgy Wi-Fi.
I've upgraded since, and then we stopped doing it. So I'm going to sack it off now.
So yeah, we apologise obviously for being away and missing that kind of the back end of the season. I think really as well the fact that Liverpool had already really secured the title, a lot of the places in the Premier League, and we didn't really know what was going on with the lower leagues about how they were finishing and whatnot. Obviously, as it turned out, the playoffs were played. We now know who's coming up. We now know who's going down.
Yep.
Champions League final has taken place. Europa League final has taken place. So there was lots that we didn't cover, but this is a brand new season, and hopefully we won't be
excited.
Interrupted
on the horizon
by any stoppages mid-season again. So we wanted to start off. We're going to get kind of 4 or 5 episodes out this week. So starting today, we'll be talking basically about our kind of pre-season predictions. So who's going to finish where. We've also got predictions on Golden Boot winner, the Assist King, Golden Glove. And we're also going to be predicting the first manager to be sacked as well. And if the betting odds are anything to go by, your man Roy might be the first one out. It'd be interesting to see.
Poor Roy.
Yeah.
He's always the favourite.
He's always the favourite. Yeah. To be fair though, it's like Palace always seem to just like steadily just get on with it though, don't they? He never really seems to be in trouble.
I think with Roy's, we'll talk about Roy quickly, but he's got to take that handbrake off.
Yeah,
we have such flair in that team that he doesn't allow to come through. It's so negative.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we'll talk a bit more about that on our sack race episode, of course. Today's episode is going to be about the 1 to 20 in the Premier League. So we're going to try and predict every single team, every single position, and we've come up with a little bit of a game for ourselves that will kind of like play out at the end of the season when we see those positions come through. So the idea basically is that we're going to make our own predictions, follow it throughout the season. At the end of the season, we're then going to go through and grade ourselves, and whoever's got the most points, the least points, there'll be a forfeit, there'll be a winner, there'll be a challenge along the way as well. Just basically keep you guys interested and watching and keeping us accountable. Like
what are the forfeits going to be?
I don't know. I guess we'll decide at a later date.
Yeah.
More details to come.
You can wear a Spurs shirt for a whole afternoon.
Well, I think like I think the idea from those of you that watched the season 1 or listened to season 1, obviously the idea was we were going to do a quiz, and the last place person was going to wear the rival team shirt out, etc., etc. And then we found that actually we don't know fuck all about football. The quizzes were an absolute shambles. The questions were fantastic, Quizmaster. But we just didn't. I don't know what it is. I listened back to a few of the episodes. Some of the excuses we come up with is that we watch too much football in pubs. You know, numbs the brain and all that. We don't really take a lot of the information
I think
in.
what it was, we've done the quiz at the end of each episode, and by that time we were on point number 4.
Yeah.
And the brain was just like in reverse.
Might have had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. So let's crack on.
Yep.
We'll go through basically the whole Premier League table. We're going to start with the relegation candidates and build up to who we think is going to be European places, Champions League places, and the overall league winner, as if it wasn't already semi-obvious. Paul, do you want to start off, mate? Your first, or your bottom 3, should I say, your
sure.
relegation candidates.
Yeah, definitely. So I've got West Brom, rock bottom, 20th. I've got Fulham in 19th and Aston Villa in 18th.
Okay, so Aston Villa struggled last year, survived on the final day thanks to a Jack Grealish goal.
I'd say that's a pretty predictable bottom 3, that.
Yeah. Two teams coming up. You haven't got Leeds in there, which is interesting. So you feel Leeds will fare better coming up from the Championship?
I think I base mine solely on their Championship form. I feel they're stronger personnel-wise, and I feel there's a few clubs in that stretch that they're competing with. So
fair enough. So you kind of see them in that kind of mid to bottom half area. Obviously,
I think there's a
will come
multitude
up
of
in
clubs there that
conversation.
are probably similar levels.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about Leeds finishing top half.
I think that's maybe a stretch in the first season. I've not seen too much of what they've done transfer-wise. I know they got that
I know they bought Rodrigo for 30
in
million.
from Valencia.
It's a Bielsa effect, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see enough personnel-wise.
But as a team, they're very solid. I mean, they're probably one of the best championship sides to come up in a number of years.
Very strong.
But you look at Sheffield United; they came up, didn't look particularly strong, and look what they've done last season. So you can't
that's
always,
very true.
Oh, of course, there's always going to be a hidden surprise package, and I expect there will be a team this year that surprises everybody and finishes higher than we've all put them. But maybe Leeds is that team. Maybe.
So it's quite rare as well, obviously, to have the first, second, and third place championship teams to come up. There always tends to be a surprise in the playoffs. That third place team, more often than not, always seems to fall out of it. Are we starting to see now, like the closing of the gap between the bottom half of the Premier League and the top half of the Championship? Is the first, second, third, fourth place Championship teams as good as the bottom areas of the Premier League?
Did Norwich come up as champions?
Don't think they did. I think they were second,
And then
possibly.
they were awful last season. They were wooden spoon candidates from the opening game. Looked really weak.
Yeah,
short,
to be honest,
loads of errors.
I don't think they have. It's the risk, isn't it? It's the risk. Do you come up and spend all that money that you've earned coming up, or do you risk going with a lot of the squad that you've already got that's got you there, put some players in that's going to improve your team and go with that? I think that's the main risk that a lot of these teams made. Sheffield United decided not to spend last year, and it worked for them.
Yeah.
Is it going to work 2 seasons running? We'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, when Fulham came up 2 seasons ago, they spent 120 mil.
They were one of the biggest spenders, weren't they? Yeah.
You know, and it backfired. But they basically come up with the same team, just with a different approach, different manager. They're not so open, so they might be a bit more competitive this time around. Fulham.
Do you think it was quite surprising that Fulham were able to keep hold of some of the bigger names that they signed during that period? Like, Mitrovic
sure.
being down in the Championship was a surprise, wasn't it? To say that he stayed on.
I'm honestly not sure. I think a lot of the players they signed were probably top level Championship quality.
Okay.
They spent a lot of money. They spent over the odds on the players they got in.
Fair enough.
Based on the market.
So you don't think that's going to be enough for them to stay up again this time? So obviously, kind of becoming a bit of a yo-yo club, up and down. You know, like Wolves were many years ago. We always remember Wolves in the early 2000s. They were kind of a bit of a yo-yo club.
Well, Palace were. I mean, we've been up and down. 8 seasons stretch now, but before then we were up and down every other season.
Yeah.
I feel Fulham are definitely that way. They like to play expansive football, but they probably haven't got enough quality to compete with some of the top teams in the Premier League, and I think that's when they get found out, when they get spanked 5-0 and go home unhappy, and I think that will happen more often than not against the top clubs in the Premier League, because from what I've seen of them in the Championship, they tend to not have too much of a plan B.
No, that's fair enough. So West Brom, you've got them rock bottom. Slaven Bilic in charge.
Yeah.
Don't see them faring too well this time around.
I honestly, if Charlie Austin is their main port of call up front, I don't.
He's down already.
I don't see him scoring enough goals.
But Bilic is very attacking.
No offence
players
to Charlie Austin or West Brom, but I don't see them scoring enough goals on a regular basis.
Yeah.
They've got a great creative player in Matías Pereira, who was fantastic last season in the Championship. Can he up it in the Premier League? We'll have to find out. But I just think they don't have enough overall quality across the whole pitch.
I think their problem is at the other end. I think that they might be okay scoring goals. I think that defensively they look shocking. They still got players like Hegazi, who was there the last time they got relegated. They haven't sort of moved on. Jake Livermore, still your holding mid. I think they got huge holes in their squad. and probably not the financial clout to sort that out.
Really didn't do much about it. And obviously, with Villa, we touched on, obviously struggled last year, survived on the final day.
Yeah,
There's still
again,
a bit of a transfer rumour around Jack Grealish maybe potentially moving on.
Even if he's there, I don't think Jack Grealish can save the day for a second season running. Again, I'm surprised their boss has still got a job. I think they'll.
I guess the
they'll
remit was to
struggle.
keep him up.
I think they'll struggle.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that at the time that Dean Smith took over Villa when they were in the Championship, they were kind of a middling, also-ran team. Put them on that 10-11 game charge, got them up through the playoffs. And yeah, as you say, probably his remit at that time would have been just stay in the Premier League.
I think if
he
you
did that.
you come off in the Championship, that has to be your remit, is just stay up.
Yeah,
of course.
So they achieved that. So then you get the payments for the next season. You can build on that. You can buy some better players. So I think the expectations for Villa this season is just to stay up again.
Of course.
I think they're in a better position this season than they were last season. So in my view, they should do slightly better and maybe finish fourth and bottom again, but a bit more comfortable than they were
Right.
down to the last day of the season.
Okay.
No, fair enough.
What about you guys?
So my relegation candidates, I've got Villa, I've got Fulham, very similar to yourself for similar sort of reasons. I don't think Grealish is going to be enough to keep Villa up again. That's even if he is there. There's still this kind of tussle between Manchester United and Dortmund. Is Sancho going to go there? It looks less and less likely as the weeks go by. So Grealish is looking more like a backup option for them. Bit cheaper, similar kind of player. Or they see him as a similar kind of player. So if Grealish is gone, then I think Villa are almost certainly down. I've got them as 18th at the moment, but I think depending on kind of moves that they make in the transfer market, if they spend that Grealish money or if they get time to spend that Grealish money and strengthen, maybe they might be able to kind of...
The transfer window closes first week of October?
October, yeah.
So there's still a month into the season.
They actually have game time, to actually figure things out, which is going to be
I guess it becomes
be
harder
interesting.
though, because once the season starts, people don't want to lose players, so then that's when
The negotiations become a lot
more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe Grealish then goes for 10 mil more than what he's really worth.
So right now he's probably 35, but if
Yeah.
you get 2 weeks into the season,
Yeah.
he's going to be 55, 60
But
million.
I personally can't see United going for him after signing
Van de Beek.
Yeah, fair enough. I've got Villa down as 18th at the moment. I've got Fulham at 19th. My rock bottom team 20th. West Ham United.
I would love it. In fact, I'm going to £20 bet. I'll give you £20 if that happens.
If West Ham are rock bottom of this,
I'll give you 40 quid if that happens.
it's
I'd
on
love
camera.
that. I'd love that to happen.
It's on audio. You heard it. You heard it, boys. 40 quid if West Ham go down. Go down or go down as rock bottom?
Oh, just go down.
Go down. All right. Okay. Fair
Go down
enough.
rock bottom, I'll give you 100.
I just think that the whole club from top to bottom is in complete disarray. We saw some of the breaking news over the last day or so. The selling of Grady Dianga for 20 million to West Brom. Mark Noble, Jack Wilshere, Declan Rice all came out on social media.
Hot prospect, right?
Very critical of that sale. They didn't quite understand the reasons why that sale has been made. Certainly not for 20 million. If he's a 20 million pound player, put him in the first team, give him a run, and if he's capable of doing so,
if you can get any 20 million for any young player, then surely he's good enough to have a few minutes on the pitch.
It's not like you've got players in that
and it's not like he's gone to a Liverpool, a Chelsea, an Arsenal, a City like as a hot prospect. He's gone to West Brom. He's gone to a newly promoted team.
With no disrespect to West Brom.
No, but they're going to be
a team on their level.
They're going to be fighting for the same sort of positions, right? They're going to be winning and losing the same sort of games.
Well, if you speak to West Ham fans, they should be pushing for top 6.
True, they've got the squad to do it, but
I don't know. They've had way too many of these.
I
imagine.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what's in their bubbles, to be honest.
I can't imagine any West Ham fan thinking they're going to be anywhere near the top 6.
If you speak to West Ham fans, they're self-entitled.
I know a couple of West Ham fans that are very critical of the organisation and the way that the club is run at the moment. I know that they definitely want the current structure to be removed. They're very
the Gold Sullivan structure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're very critical of the way that the club is run. They're very pessimistic about where the club is going to finish. Certainly, the ones that I speak to are not holding out any hope of any kind of top 10 finish or anything else like that.
If you look at their squad, surely.
Well, this is what I mean.
Surely they're
on paper, they are more than good enough.
Yeah, more than good enough.
More than good enough. Yeah. But you've got David Moyes in charge. You've got a board that are not willing to invest. They're selling their best young prospects. For me, like, it's just the pressure, the media, the fans are getting on their back. All of it is it's a perfect storm, and I think it's just going to result ultimately in West Ham being relegated, unfortunately.
I think that's a bold choice. I think that's a bold choice, but fair, I understand.
I love it. It's very bold.
What about you, Scotty?
So I've gone West Brom to finish bottom. Similar things to you.
Yep.
I've gone Fulham, one above them. I think Fulham will be more competitive this time around. They won't be the
whipping boys.
The whipping boys as they were. And I've gone for Brighton to be the surprise package of established Premiership clubs. There's always one that just hovers.
Okay.
I think Villa will be slightly better than last year and just finish above them. I look at Brighton and go, I can't see where they're going to get the goals from. They signed Lallana to supply the bullets for Morpay, but other than that, I can't see. They've got no other creation. Lallana's injured a lot.
I quite like Trossard. They've got out wide.
Yeah,
I think he's a bit of a threat, and Mapai's very quick, and he's been getting the goals.
I like Morpay. I mean, he's when we do our EPL, I've had him in and out of my squad.
He's a good option.
My problem with Brighton is when they got rid of Chris Hughton, similar thing to what Roy does at Palace, is that he knows the limitations of that side.
Yep.
And the handbrake is on because he knows that defensively there's no pace and they get hit on the break. So you've got to sit deep.
Solid, yeah.
I think Chris Hughton saw that in that Brighton squad. Potter's come in and tried to play this more expansive game, and I think that they get picked off too easy because of it, because they haven't got the players at the back with the pace, or the holding midfielders are very weak. There's no legs in that midfield. I just think overall, squad-wise, I can see them under Potter being too open, too expansive. And it's Brighton as well, so they've got to go.
What's just real quick? What's your views on the transfer rumours surrounding Lewis Dunk?
I think he signed an extension at Brighton now. I think he signed that extension, so he's there. Duffy's on the move though, so that
Celtic, right?
Yeah. So it'd be Dunk and Webster, I think, at the back. I mean, Dunk's solid. They're talking like 45 million. I think West Ham, wasn't it, after him? I think he's solid. He's probably better than Brighton, to be honest, Lewis Dunk. I mean, he's probably their main asset in that team. He's like a one-man back four.
Yeah. Should definitely be getting some more. I certainly see some more England caps in his future.
Well, he's on the sort of level like Connor Cody type sort of player. If he was playing at Wolves, he probably would be in that chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like Jamal Lascelles. If he was at Chelsea, he'd be England's number one.
If he was at Chelsea, he'd be the captain from England.
So let's go 17 to 11.
All right.
I imagine a lot of these are coin flips, really, aren't they?
Yeah, I think there's a multitude of teams that could fit in here, and then some of them could probably break into the top 10. Some of them could fall further down into the bottom 3. That there is a lot of coin flips in here, but I guess I'll do my 17 to 11.
Yeah.
And maybe if you guys reel yours off, and then we just talk about them.
Yeah.
That way, rather than going too in depth into mine.
Happy with that.
Just rip yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so 17th, I've gone Newcastle.
Yep.
16th, I've gone West Ham.
Yep.
15th, I've gone Leeds.
Yep.
14th, Brighton. 13th, Crystal Palace. 12th, Burnley. And 11th, Sheffield United.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
I've got the same teams, just different.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, obviously, I've got West Ham to be relegated. I've got West Brom to survive. So 17 for me is Brighton. 16 is West Brom. 15 Sheffield United. 14 Leeds United. 13 Crystal Palace. 12 Newcastle United, and 11 Burnley.
So I've gone 17 Villa, as I've already alluded. Sheffield United, I think will have that second syndrome bounce. I think they'll struggle and just pull it off in the last.
That's interesting.
Few
We'll
games.
talk about that in a second.
We've got West Ham to finish 15th, Newcastle 14, Palace 13, Leeds 12, Burnley 11.
Okay, cool. So we're all in agreement that Sheffield United are not going to be the European powerhouses, contenders that they were last year.
Can't be, they get no goals. They're based on a back 8
Yeah.
they play.
Yeah.
They've got no goals in their team. It's going to be sussed out eventually. Once teams can work them out and get behind them or whatever, they've got no goals in their team.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's where their downfall will be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's Mousset and McBurney.
Yeah.
Are not going to McGoldrick
Billy Sharp.
and Billy Sharp. Yeah. They're not going to get them enough goals.
Yeah.
Although I guess some people will say
It was good
enough last season.
Good enough last year, yeah.
would be the rebuttal.
But the whole strategy is based on being absolutely rock solid.
Yeah.
And that strange overlapping centre back system they I think once teams can work that out, if they can work it out, then that'd be their downfall. I think they've got enough in them to revert back there, and when they play teams around them, to be solid enough to get results.
Yeah.
Because they have some good quality defenders. And like we're saying about Brighton, in my view, they play too expansive. Sheffield United won't be that, and will be very solid and hard to beat. Pick up the odd point against the better sides.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What intrigues me about Sheffield United is that obviously coming up from the Premier League, coming up from the Championship, getting that Premier League money, finishing as high as they did, so you get that kind of placement bonus. Now they're in for a second season, so you get another second round of money.
Yeah.
So we're talking 300-400 million pound in total over the last 18 months that they've earned. Yes, obviously pandemic may have affected their ability to earn, bums on seats, etc. But you look at their activity in the transfer market, and they're still looking at kind of buying the best of the Championship.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to be offering what other teams are offering. I mean, I'd say obviously we've dealt with Sheffield United most of the way through the summer, tussling over John Swift, and they don't seem to be able to or want to budge beyond £3.5-4 million for him. When
what would you say is valued at?
Realistically, yeah, 9-10. I would probably take 8. But realistically, 9-10 is kind of
one of the best players in the Championship.
Yeah,
in a position that Sheffield could probably do with.
So they're offering what, 4 or 5 million?
3.5 was their last bid. Yeah, they don't seem to be wanting to budge beyond that.
But I guess their strategy is like we touched on the Fulham. They come up and spent 120 million and then went down.
Yeah.
Sheffield know the
limitations.
Their limitations. Yeah.
Despite having the money, they're still thinking.
Which is prudent and it's fair.
Well, like you say, they don't want to do a Fulham. They don't want to spend all that money and then go down.
Which is fine, but at the same time, they need to also expect, and Sheffield United fans as well need to be expectant that a top 6, top 10 finish is just probably not on the cards this year.
You remember last season they were favourites to go down.
Yeah.
I think they would have. I think Sheffield United fans would recognise that last season was an anomaly. That they overperformed. And I, as we've said, I can't see it repeating itself.
Yeah.
The loss of Dean Henderson, big loss.
I think that's probably the biggest.
He saved them a lot of points.
But they've got your future England number 1, Aaron Ramsdale.
They got my man in there. I mean, Ramsdale to me is an amazing replacement.
Yeah.
Like for like.
In my view, I think
pretty close.
Yeah.
I think probably Dean Henderson's probably further along the development.
I think Ramsdale, he was number 1. What was he? 22 last season, the youngest Premiership goalkeeper to have a spot nailed.
Yeah. And
it's proved that how good he was. They got relegated, and he's been bought out for 18 mil. That shows how highly thought of he is.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they haven't got the John Swift. The 10 million you want for John Swift.
But that shows you where they're thinking. So they're spending 18 million on a goalkeeper,
no,
but won't spend 10 million on an attacking midfield player.
Midfield, yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, again, they spent a lot of money on Sander Berge, didn't they?
That's true.
Holding midfield.
So
it's all about keeping that tightness.
Keeping it tight,
keeping the ball.
I'll keep them up. Eventually, I'll keep them up. But eventually, they've got to come out of that at some point.
Yeah.
Whether it's next season or season after, they can't come.
Yeah.
That's when the problems.
It's when they've got to take the risk.
They've got to.
I guess.
They've got to start scoring goals, basically.
That's basically what it is.
I guess you see that in. I guess the likes when Leeds were in. the Premier League last. Is when they finally managed to break that top four and get that Champions League. They decided we need to go for it. We need to try and break the mould here and go for it, and it backfired
massively. It was all built on debt, wasn't it? It was all built on loans and debt.
You know, it'll work for some and won't work for others.
So to be prudent is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
To start with.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So we've all got Leeds in that mix as well. Obviously, come up from the Championship as champions. They were dominant throughout. They never really looked like losing it, did they? To be honest, no. They were close the season before. Probably unlucky to fall into the playoffs.
Fell away, didn't they?
Yeah. So they probably, you know, they were probably nailed on as the favourites for the Championship this year, and they've come through on that. But bottom half finish, what are we thinking? Well, what are you thinking? I know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of things that they're the best Championship side to come up for a while. Obviously, Bielsa is a magician.
106 points, still got the record. Got to get it in.
Yeah, where'd you go after that?
But yeah, you're right. In terms of the style of play, absolutely, they're one of the best Championship sides that have been around for a long time.
My concern for Leeds is that I mean, Bielsa's a clever man. He knows the game inside out. He won't be too expansive, but they were in the Championship. They played this brand of football that was amazing to watch without being too open.
Yeah,
I think that will see them through. My only concern with Leeds is that if you're going into the season, like you said about Charlie Austin, you're going into the season with Patrick Bamford, who is not, in my view, is not Premier League.
Do you think the new signing Rodrigo will be?
He'll play wide. I think he'll play wide.
I think he'll put him wide because of his pace.
Interesting.
Bamford apparently is undroppable.
Really?
First name on the team sheet. Yeah.
I thought that was just banter when you're putting it in the group.
It's true.
To be honest, a lot of what I've heard from Leeds fans is that he is the boy. He is the guy, and he's the one that knits their team together and brings that expansive players, lets them expansive players do their thing. I guess
if you remember his days back at Chelsea, there's big talk about Bamford.
Yeah.
The season loan at Palace has ruined his career because he was awful.
Yeah.
Was that just because Palace were awful?
Exactly.
Is it? Yeah. So do you think? In that respect, then you're saying obviously he allows the wide players into the game and allows that expansive style of play. Obviously, it's almost very similar criticism.
Very Giroud-like.
I was just going to say it's very similar to the criticism that's laid at Firmino's door as well. Doesn't score enough goals as a central striker, but then you look at the likes of Mane and Salah that are scoring 20 a season each.
I guess the issue is whether Leeds are going to get their goals from those wide players.
Yeah.
Well, Hernandez is the main man, who I think is quality.
I think he's quality, but again, he's an aging guy. Yeah. He's been in the Premier League before. He was very good when he was at Swansea.
Mm-hmm. Was he? Oh no, it was Abel Hernandez. It was Hull, wasn't it?
Yeah. He used to play for Swansea.
Okay, fine.
They got a couple of Phillips, who broke into the England setup.
Yeah.
Quality. They got Harrison.
Jack Harrison looks good.
Is he on loan from City or they signed him?
Yeah, he's on loan. Yeah.
I mean, they're two very, very and solid. They'll be solid at the back.
Yeah.
Luke Aylin's decent.
I think that's why they'll be in that.
Yeah, they'll be
in there thereabouts.
Yeah.
I've obviously gone for a bit lower because I still think they'll get found out against some of the better quality teams.
Yeah. So we won't get bogged down too much with the Burnleys, Newcastles, Palaces and things like that because I think that's probably around about where they finish most years anyway. Mm-hmm. So we'll move on to the top 10. Shall we go?
Yeah, 10 to 7.
10 to 7.
10 to 7, and then we'll do the European places thereafter. So, Paolo, do you want to go 10 to 7, please, mate?
Yeah. So I've got 10. I've got Leicester.
Okay.
9 Southampton, 8 Everton, and 7 Wolves.
Interesting. Okay. I've gone Southampton 10th, Everton 9th, Spurs 8th, and Wolves 7th as well, same as you.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So I've gone Leicester 10, Everton 9, Wolves 8, and Southampton 7.
Ooh, okay.
I think Southampton will be the dark horses, maybe trying to push into that top 6.
I think what Ralph Hasenhüttl has done at Southampton over the last season and a bit.
It's pretty incredible.
The transformation is pretty amazing, to be fair.
Yeah. From that 9-0 loss.
It seems to be getting the best.
Leicester,
They look a completely different team, yeah.
You know, and getting the goals out of Ings was obviously the real change of their
Well, even
form.
even a player like Che Adams and Shane Long that perennially have kind of been like these middling kind of players off the bench, seems to be able to get the best out of them as well, which is a great credit. Obviously, they lost Højbjerg in the summer.
Spurs,
How's that going to affect them, do you think?
I think he's a quality player, however, but they got a few players that can come in and do a job. I like Stuart Armstrong. I think he's very underrated.
I think he'll get goals this season.
Yeah.
I think he started well towards the end of last season. Had a good run in the team, and I think he'll continue.
Yeah, you got Romeu can do the holding job.
Very solid. Yeah.
I mean, the thing I like about Southampton, the way he's got them set up, there's loads of energy in that team.
Yeah.
When you're watching it, they do the press, they close down,
break.
They play the ball really quick. Redmond is another underrated player. Walker Peters, brilliant on the overlap.
Yeah.
They got the makings of a exciting season
Yeah.
this year. If Ings can keep banging the goals in, and Adam supporting, I think they could,
I guess,
as a wild card, finish in that 7th place.
Yeah. I guess the only thing that I think would probably go against them is their strength in depth. If they have any injuries, then that's when they may see a dip in form. But
I think that's where
I tend to agree that they'll finish. I'd like to think they'd be up there based on how.
I think that's where, for me, that's where I've got them finishing 10th. I felt like they're definitely better than that bottom half of the league. But at the same time, I just like Everton, Spurs, Wolves, a lot stronger. Got that strength in depth. There's only so much that like good tactics and a good manager can carry you, and like you said, it does depend heavily on Danny Ings being able to bang in another 20 goals this year.
But if he stays fit, I mean, he's always been a prolific finisher.
Of course,
it's all about his fitness for things, isn't it? I mean, he signed for Liverpool as a prolific striker
from Burnley.
People forget how good he was before his injuries.
True.
Last season was just a show that he's still got it.
Yeah.
So if he stays fit, there's no reason why they can't push him.
Fair enough.
So we've all got Everton there or thereabouts up in that top 10.
Everton a perennial disappointment, aren't they? They spend. The squad is progressing, and then they sort of take a backward step. I mean, Paul likes Ancelotti as a coach, and he'll gel them and have them firing.
Yeah. As I was saying, for me, Ancelotti's not there to pick up the paycheck. He's one of the most successful managers around.
Yep.
He's clearly there to improve Everton and try and make Everton a challenger for that top 6.
Yep.
And I think
still short though, aren't they?
They are still short. I think the problem is they buy a certain way. They go head into maybe one position, 2 positions for 1 year, and it doesn't solve it. And then they think, we need to then. But then there's other problems around the pitch that they haven't solved.
So where do you think they need improving? I mean, in my view, Calvert-Lewin is a good backup striker. I'm not sure you go into a season with him as your number 1 if you're trying to push into that top 6.
I think for them to go to that next level, I do think they probably need a 20 goal striker.
What do we think about Richarlison being that main man then?
No, he's not a striker.
He plays out wide at the moment. I recognise that, but
I don't think he's got the temperament for the responsibility.
No.
Okay.
I think you can tell by the way he acts and the way he behaves sometimes on the pitch. I don't think he's got when the going gets tough. I think Richarlison will get going.
Yeah.
Westlife style. So I don't think he's the man, but I think
he's a good foil for someone though, isn't he?
I think the players they're bringing in or potentially bringing in this season, if they happen, obviously they've got Allen, which a lot of top European clubs
Super Al.
Super Al.
A lot of top clubs are sniffing around him, so that's a bit of a coup for them.
Yeah.
And obviously
Decore,
I think will be a tremendous signing.
Yep.
He was probably one of Watford's better players last year.
One of the
well.
best box-to-box midfield players.
I think he's on his day. I think he's class.
Yeah. And actually, I think as well for all of Everton's failings last year, you could probably look back at the transfer of Idrissa Gueye as being probably the main the root cause of that.
Is a big problem.
Well, they signed. Who's the lad they signed that only played like 10 minutes in the?
Barman.
No, Gabin.
I think it's
G.
Yeah, it's a silent G.
Right,
yeah,
they got him in.
We're talking about the same bloke.
Yeah, they got him in as a holding mid, and he
got injured.
Got crooked, didn't he? But he's supposed to be the boy, but he's out again for long term.
Yeah, and I guess
how do you pronounce it?
I think it's Barmin. I think it's
Barmin.
I don't know. It's GBAMIN, something like that.
Yeah. Someone will tell us down in the comments.
Yeah,
it's fine.
let us know. Let us know. I'm terrible. And then for me, I guess the guy that they'll be most excited about signing, but I think he's probably the biggest risk, is James Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I think Everton will be really excited to get him, which you would be getting what supposedly a big star from Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, I'm just not sure if he's the same player that was tearing up for Colombia back in the World Cup.
Is he an upgrade on Gylfi?
Definitely.
Because Gylfi had
Ooh, I don't know about that.
poor seasons.
No, I think he's certainly an
he looked
upgrade.
poor last season. Gylfi.
I think he's more mobile.
Yeah.
He's more mobile. I think he offers more threats with goals. I know. Gylfi is the assist king and the dead ball guy.
Yeah.
But I think James will get in that box and contribute.
When we think about like James Rodriguez, like his star power, and when he kind of announced himself to the world, you've got to think it's over a decade ago now. It's 2010 World Cup when he scored that goal for Colombia. What is he now? 31?
No, he's not that old.
Was he a teenager when he was at the World Cup then?
He was quite young, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But
never really hit those heights.
I would imagine he's around 28, 29 if I was
all right, fair enough.
Predict his age.
So got a good maybe 4 or 5 seasons in him.
Yeah.
Premier League is probably a much tougher, much more physical league to come into.
Yeah, and I think Everton's probably the right team
it's
for
probably
him
the right fit
to
actually.
Test himself.
Yeah.
And there's still lots of. I mean, there's been a lot of rumours about Wilf leaving Palace, but Everton are the club that are still
that would want him. Yeah.
And
I think if they got him, then again.
They're the ones that took Balassi from yourselves as well.
They took Balassi, he got injured unfortunately and never stepped up. But if they had Wilf, then I'd change my list.
Yeah,
because he could be that difference between them being.
Well, amount of penalties they'd win. Then Sigurdsson might be a good shout for fantasy football. I guess the real shock for me, Darren, is you've got Tottenham outside of the top 6.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain this?
But he has got West Ham being bottom. Is that not a bigger shock?
Do you want to explain this? To be honest, I'm more shocked. That he's got Tottenham down there.
To be fair, I just think it was more predicated on the fact that my top 6, obviously, we'll get into it a little bit more, but my top 6 still has Leicester in it. They had a great season last year under Brendan Rodgers. I don't see them capitulating that much. They looked like they were going to be Champions League, 2nd, 3rd place last year.
I got Leicester at 10. You got them at 10.
I got them at 10. Yeah.
So why do you think they're going to be? Darren's
top 6 and we're 10.
Yeah,
which is quite a big difference.
It is a big difference.
In points.
Yeah.
And really that is it though?
Yeah.
Is it?
Potentially.
No, I don't think it is anymore.
Not
like 6th down to 10th. What was it last season? What was the gap? Like 4 or 5 points?
My problem with Leicester is Jamie Vardy. Without him, where do the goals come from?
Yeah. That's a fair point.
If he's missing for any length of time, plus they got Europe this season.
Yeah.
They're going to have to try and juggle that effect.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the squad's thin. They've lost Chilwell.
Defensively, I don't think they're the same. I don't think that.
Well, Pereira's out for a while. They've lost Ben. I know they signed a land from Atalanta, who comes in, who looks pretty decent.
Yeah, that's true.
I think as a back four, I think they look weak.
It will be interesting, but the main reasons why I've got Spurs in that group is literally it's just predicated on where I've got other teams. Obviously, we'll go into the top 6 a bit deeper in a minute.
What out of Spurs makes you think they're not as strong as Leicester?
They leaked a lot of goals last year, which is uncharacteristic for a Jose side. I think
surely he's going to address that.
Potentially, but from what I've seen so far, I think the root cause of that being Hugo Lloris and not really having a solid centre back outside of Alderweireld.
He loves Dyer
though. He does. So you think Alderweireld and Dyer centre backs?
Yeah, I think Dyer's going to play centre half.
Yeah. Okay, all right, fair enough. But
Sanchez, maybe
I like Davinson Sanchez.
I think that there was a lot of chatter at the beginning of the beginning of the transfer window that Hugo Lloris was either going to get moved on or they were going to buy a replacement. Obviously, Joe Hart's come in. Is Joe Hart the Hugo Lloris replacement? Probably not.
He's to fill the quota.
Yeah, he's to sit on the bench.
He's to do their homegrown
stuff. There's nothing wrong with Lloris. What's the problem with Lloris?
I just think that you look back at last season, and I think largely he was at fault for a number of the goals.
You can see.
He's lost the
again, I look through the clean sheets. And you look through the clean sheets from years gone by, even 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, he was right up there. Last year he was nowhere.
Oh, he's definitely-
Six
definitely
six
good
clean sheets he kept last season for a Tottenham side is shocking.
The signing of Matt Doherty as well is quite interesting as well, because it doesn't necessarily solve the problem. Obviously, we saw him at Wolves quite a lot last year. He bombed forward. He was an attacking kind of wing back, and it's not a Jose signing. It's not a Jose style signing.
I think Spurs will play three at the back this season with Doherty and Davis bombing on. I think they'll play Sanchez and Dyer.
I guess my
and
feeling
Alderweireld
is
as a back
that
three.
they can only improve defensively. I can't see them repeating their defensive performance that they had last season.
Okay.
And the other thing for me is Harry Kane was fairly susceptible to injuries last season, and if he,
As he is most seasons, though, right?
if he stays fit,
Golden boot winner.
then he's going to be up there with the goals, isn't he? And again, they've got goals from other points of
I
the
think
pitch.
going forward, Spurs look one of the sexiest sides.
Which
Options, you got Son, you got Bergwijn, you got Moura, Dele Alli had an off season last year too, injury and what have you. Ali of the season before that.
it's incredible, yeah.
Him and Kane. I mean, so they've got so many options if players are on song, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be if they're fit.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe maybe that might be the one that sees me finish bottom of our little
Well,
competition.
If that's not the one getting you drunk, then the West Ham one will definitely finish you off.
So yeah, Wolves 7th. So yeah, similar sort of reasons.
Have we all gone Wolves 7th? Where did you
I'll
guys
put them 8th.
8th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think
There
they
or
had a
thereabouts.
fantastic season last season. I don't see them capitulating as much as, say, a Sheffield United, for example.
I think
they've bought really
for
well.
Wolves, what's impressed me is that their defensive record is almost as good as the top two,
four, yeah, that's right.
which to have a team finish 7th and still be that defensively, which means they probably just need to score a few more goals, which obviously they've bought the young Portuguese fella,
I love it.
Fabio Silva from Porto.
If ever there was proof, if ever there was proof that actual football managers play Football Manager, it's that transfer.
Yeah.
It 100% is that transfer.
More down to the Portuguese.
What's it? Nine Portuguese players I think they've got now.
9 Portuguese players, yeah. They've got Ronaldo's agent on the board of directors, haven't they? Jorge Mendes. That's where a lot of it comes from, I think.
So it'd be interesting to see how much
We'll put
football
the
he
flavour in
gets.
now, I think, 'cause
But yeah,
Really?
it's nothing to do with the transfers.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Officially,
Jorge Mendes has absolutely nothing to do with the transfer policy at Wolverhampton, despite having many Portuguese players on his books
Portuguese #1 keeper,
and
Neves, Coutinho.
and Portuguese players moving to Wolves. He has absolutely nothing to do with the transfer policy.
And the biggest young talent coming through Portuguese ranks signing for Wolves when Real Madrid and Barcelona also wanted
Paying 35 million after only one senior team appearance.
Yeah. Nothing to do with Mendes.
only 5 goals.
Only 5
But then I think that was from like a multitude of sub appearances. So it's hard to judge the kid. But from what I hear, he's supposed to be the
reckon
top boy.
they reckon the Wolves scouting and recruitment team, they reckon that they've been watching him since under 16. That was their reason.
They're not the only ones, are they? They're not the only ones.
True. Fair enough.
Hey, we'll leave that because we get done.
Yeah. Jorge Mendes will be suing us.
Should we go on to our top 6?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, so 6, I've got Tottenham. 5th, Arsenal. 4th, Man United. 3rd, Chelsea. 2nd, Man City. And 1st, Liverpool.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a predictable top 2, isn't it? I think I've got it the other way around. I've got City winning the title, Liverpool 2nd, Chelsea 3rd, just off the strength of their transfer window, Manchester United 4th, and then I've got Arsenal 5th and Leicester 6th.
So my top 6 is exactly the same as Paul's.
Oh, wow.
Same order, probably the same reasoning.
Yeah.
Liverpool last season was so dominant. I think it will be close to this season.
I think the league, it will be a toss-up between those top 2. I think that's probably a definite.
Well, Liverpool aren't going to run away with it and win it again by Christmas, are they? But
No.
It's going to be tight, but they got too much.
Just like you say, defensively, they're probably the best in the league.
Yeah.
Even going forward, they're probably the best in the league.
Yeah.
It's very hard to find
There's no flaws in it.
There's tiny flaws, and if they get Thiago,
exactly.
then
I had Liverpool
Scary.
down. I had Liverpool down as champions again, and it was only really in doing the research for the other episodes that are going to come up later on in the week that I kind of started looking at it. It was like, well, okay, the leader of assists, the goals, the number of clean sheets. Like
Yeah.
I was looking at it and I was like,
There's a lot. City are in there.
yeah,
a
City.
lot of the time.
There's a lot of City players in and amongst those categories as being top contenders for those awards.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when it all comes together, so you've got a great number of assists, a great number of goals, a great number of clean sheets. It's the trifecta. It's a perfect trifecta.
But I think
Yeah.
until Pep sorts out his back line, City can't push on to
I think we've got to take
until they find a partner for Laporte. I don't think Nathan Ake is the answer.
I think a large part of the reason why they failed because if you look at the season last season, they were quite poor defensively in the first half, and that's what cost them. Like you say, Liverpool had the title wrapped up by Christmas, January, and that was really because Manchester City just dropped points when they shouldn't have dropped points.
Yeah.
And a large part of that was because Laporte was injured. As soon as Laporte came back into that side, and obviously post-lockdown, we saw a different City side, really. Those last 10 games that they
team
played.
of City's buying power need a replacement, don't they?
Yeah, need a ready-made guy that's got in there.
Yeah, I mean, Ake's
and
decent.
in years gone by, they've had it.
Yeah, he's not.
They've had it on the bench, ready to go.
Exactly.
He's not Laporte level, but is that because he's not doing a Laporte job?
And again,
Laporte's the ball player, and Ake's just the big head just to get the ball out, right?
Ake's a decent player, but he plays on the left side of the two as well, same as Laporte. So I can't see either of them playing on the other side. So in my view, Ake's coming as a Laporte replacement.
Interesting. Okay.
He's injured, which still leaves the problem of who do you play on the other side.
I don't know.
You're talking about Otamendi again.
Otamendi, Stones.
Then City don't win the title.
Yeah.
I tend to agree.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean that was
again,
really
for me. I think losing a player like Leroy Sane. I know he didn't play much football last season, but losing him, their replacement in Ferran Torres. Again, I know he's a well thought of youngster, and I know he's got a lot of potential, a lot of ability. But is he Leroy Sane level right now? Is he going to do what Leroy Sane could do?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could argue that if Torres only,
I find it hard to believe.
Yeah.
if Torres only plays 5 or 6 games next year, he would have played just as many games as Sane did this in the season previous.
Yeah, but
In terms of standing, in terms of where Guardiola.
I mean, the year that City won it, Leroy Sane was the boy.
He was.
True.
He was. Plus, you got to throw into the fact that they've lost David Silva.
David Silva gone.
Foden's got to step up.
Is
Foden-
Aguero going to be the same Aguero another year on?
Foden's like for like.
When you look at the Liverpool team, you go.
I
there's not a lot
don't
of
see
question
Gabriel
marks.
Jesus again taking over those goals if Aguero doesn't get them
Not at
this
all.
season.
Not at
Be an
all.
interesting episode later on in the
So
week. Then.
that's my struggle. That's my struggle with
There's
City.
question marks, isn't there?
Yeah.
Plus Pep's constant rotation, where Liverpool have a very set. Here's the first 11 if they're fit. City just rotate. I don't think that helps.
Yeah, exactly.
No, of course, rotation is obviously a key part of what Guardiola does. It's
Too many riches.
brought him success elsewhere. It's brought him success with Man City in a large part. I just think last season it just didn't work for him in regards to, Laporte was a massive loss at the end of the day, and it showed in that first half of the season where they were losing games that they should have at least got a point from, and then were drawing games that they should have won. And
I guess the other thing to throw in there is that Liverpool didn't have those injuries.
That's true.
They didn't get any major injuries really last season to any of their key players. If they get any this season,
you imagine if Salah's out for a
would
time,
it
who
be a
comes in
different
for him?
story? Would
Yeah.
it be a different story? And it could be, and then that might be the difference.
Yeah.
That may be the difference.
You got Salah out for 6-7 weeks, and you got to rely on Oxlade-Chamberlain or something like that to fill out that right hand, left hand spot.
My feeling is
It's a different story, isn't
Klopp
it?
Klopp has the players that can come in. I think more drilled to how Liverpool play.
They play to a system, and everyone comes in and plays.
Everyone
to the
is
system.
drilled to that system
City look
to
a
a
bit
T, which I
haphazard.
think sometimes players that don't play aren't.
Plus the season before
same for
where
Pep.
City and Liverpool pulled away and City just won it. I mean, Bernardo Silva was a massive influence in that. Whereas last season he was pretty poor.
Pretty poor, yeah.
So obviously we've got Arsenal in 5th, all of us. That's fairly reasonable. Kind of, I guess we've all got the same explanations for that in terms of
Better than this year. They
play
look
styles
better.
better than last season.
I think Arteta's definitely improved us.
They look good
I think
post-
the signings will improve us that we've made so far.
They looked a lot better post-lockdown, winning the FA Cup, winning the Charity Shield.
Yeah, like I say, winning games that predominantly in seasons gone by we wouldn't have won,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is the real positive. I guess me being an Arsenal fan and watching Arteta's progress is we won those games.
Yeah.
In years gone by, we'd have lost them
Yeah.
2-3-0 easy, no problem, and it wouldn't have been we'd have all gone home unhappy. But we won those games, and I guess even the Community Shield. I watched it last weekend. Winning the Community Shield is, don't get me wrong, is not important. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I know it's a trophy, but it's not the winning. It was more the winning of the game.
Yeah.
The winning and competing in the game, and it was. Let's be fair. It was a first team Liverpool side.
True.
And we competed from start to finish.
I thought you played very well. Yeah.
We weren't outclassed in any way, shape, or form. And I know we only won on penalties, but if we go to Liverpool and get a draw,
in the league,
in the league,
you'll take that.
I'd take that every day of the week.
Yeah.
Still big question marks over defensively Arsenal.
Oh, of course. I guess the question marks is we've got Saliba in, who's a young lad who's come in this season, again highly thought of.
Yeah.
Been compared to Varane, etc. And then obviously we've bought Gabriel Magalhaes from Lille. Again, a lot of teams were after him, so I guess it's a fairly big coup for Arsenal.
Yeah.
But it's how quickly does he adapt? And again, I'm not sure what Arteta's starting defence is going to be at this moment in time.
He must know. He must
it'd be interesting to see. I imagine it'll be Luiz and Magalhaes and maybe Saliba if he plays a back three.
Yeah.
Maybe Tierney.
Yeah.
In there.
You were quite disappointed that Rob Holding was allowed to leave to go to Newcastle.
Well, he hasn't gone yet.
I think it's more or less
I think if
done,
if
isn't
we're
it?
playing a back three,
Yeah.
then you need Holding for the depth, because I assume we're going to get rid of Mustafi and Socrates before the window closes.
So where's this Holding to Newcastle conversation come from then? Is it a case that it's on the verge of being done, or
loan deal being talked about?
a loan deal?
Well,
Okay.
I can only guess it's Holding's obviously not got any promises that he's going to be in the first team picture, as in regular.
Yeah.
And a player like Holding needs to be playing regular for his development, and that's a fact. So it may be a good thing that he goes to Newcastle for a year and plays in their team every week in, week out, and then we get him back, hopefully an improved player next season to compete against the others.
He's not a youngster though, is he? You think he's nailed a spot?
He's not, but he's not
past it.
He's not knocking on either.
No.
He's still got room for getting better.
Fair enough. So we've all got United in fourth.
Yeah, I think United are interesting. They made some big signings, haven't they?
I think United and Chelsea could flip-flop between each other.
Yeah.
I think there's not much between them. I think the top four. I
will
can't see
pull away.
anyone out of.
Themselves,
I can't see anyone we've mentioned that outside the top four can push them.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has the strength and depth. that
Bruno
these teams have.
Fernandes has massively improved them, right?
Yeah.
Is that the catalyst?
Well, we
he
spoke about Pogba many times, haven't we? And Pogba was brought in to do what Fernandes did.
Yeah.
And Pogba hasn't.
To be honest, I struggle to see where Pogba fits.
Yeah.
When they signed Donny van der Beek, I was trying to think, well, where does he play? Because again, I don't watch Man United, so I can't comment on where Bruno plays. To be honest, but does Bruno play behind the number? Number 10.
More like a number 10. Yeah.
The Van der Beek will play in that role, and Fernandes will be pushed deeper, which means Pogba's
I was going to say
on his ear.
because Donny plays a mixture of both for Ajax.
Yeah.
He plays
can
as
play
the
the
number
holding.
10 quite a lot, but then he does drop deep when often
kind of
too.
like a
'cause
utility
he's a
player,
bit of a box to box.
Box to box,
He
yeah.
can play that role too because he's mobile. But
unless
then
they play Pogba and Fernandes. And
then if
get
you
rid
play
of
both
Matic.
of them, you're going to play a holding mid. You're going to play a
Well,
Matic
Matic
or
is-
someone.
yeah.
So then that leaves.
That's right.
It's interesting because the narrative was
an
that
expensive player to be sitting on your bench.
Fernandes coming in freed Pogba up to kind of do like a roaming playmaker role.
Which is where we're saying either
Show
Van der
pony,
Beek's going
which
to go
is-
or
Yeah, flicks and tricks and cute little
get in
through
the
balls
box,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
get the tap-ins right, which is
Which
what
is-
you
which-
want him to do.
And it's a similar job that what he does for the French national team.
Yeah, gamble on the ball going in where you're going. and get on the
Kante
end of it.
allows him to just float about
around.
and do what he wants to do, whereas Kante then sweeps up the balls behind. So it's interesting that Fernandes has come in as an attacking force.
But it's
and
the
then-
Van der Beek signing that's thrown that all out. I can see Pogba and Fernandes working, but the Van der Beek signing that's
One of
thrown
them's
out.
One of them's gotta
out
go.
of the picture. You can't play all three of them.
Yeah,
because
fair enough.
you'll be too unbalanced, I
Yeah.
imagine.
Okay, fine. And then Chelsea third, obviously an amazing transfer window so far.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cash that's been stockpiled over the last year where they didn't obviously or weren't allowed to spend anything for the last 12 months.
That ban's probably been the making of Frank Lampard. How lucky is that guy? Because he's going to get all the plaudits no matter what. He got all the plaudits for playing the youngsters, even though he didn't have a choice. And now he's going to get all the plaudits for buying players they would have bought anyway.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't choose those players. He hasn't gone to them, I want Timo Werner. No, they've gone, well, what strikers available? Yeah. Who do we need?
Yeah. I think it was a no-lose situation for Lampard, really, wasn't it? And I think that's really the key reason as to why he stepped up from Derby to Chelsea so quickly.
He's going to get a lot of credit for it.
Because he
was
given the security.
Their hands were tied, weren't they, because of the ban?
Yeah.
But the signings they've made this season, I mean, as long as they gel, that's a front four.
Well, yeah. For me, that's the key. It's the time it takes to gel. You'd like to think the class of those players, it won't take long.
So it really is. It's more about can Pulisic fall into that system? Can Ziyech fall into that system? Can Giroud and Tammy and Mason Mount? What happens to these guys?
Assist kings. I mean, Ziyech is the assist king. I mean, he'd be knocking balls in for Timo to tap away all day long.
He'll get goals as well. He'll get goals.
You know, again, the only question mark over Chelsea is how do you fit players like Mount in, and you know, do you play Mount as a pivot with
Tammy and
Kante, and you know, do they look a bit weak?
And what does this now mean as well for the likes of you know, the fringe players like Batshuayi and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Ross Barkley?
Yeah.
You know, Callum Hudson-Odoi was thought highly of until his injury. Does he stay and fight for his place?
Yeah, I think Hudson-Odoi would be okay.
Well, that's the choices. That's the choices that Chelsea make and those players make, isn't it? They're obviously stronger with them, because of depth.
And they will need them because they got European football.
They've got a lot. I'm with Scott. The real questions on them is defensively. You know, can they keep the ball out of the back of the net?
There are a lot of goals in the last season.
You know, I'm a big fan of Rudiger. I'm a fan of Tomori, but I'm not sure if he's quite ready yet. So then outside of that, they've got Christensen.
Well, they brought in Thiago Silva, didn't they?
They've got Thiago Silva.
Is he a season in him?
Is he going to be? Is he going to go in as the first team, or is he going to be a substitute?
I don't know.
And then they've got Aspilicueta, who they like to play when they play a back three.
Legs are gone. Big
so
question marks.
There's question marks over them defensively, but I just think they look such a threat going forward. That even if they win every game 5-4, you know what I mean?
Well, they brought in Chilwell.
I can't see them.
Chilwell and Reece James as your wing backs. I mean, Jesus. Forget the defence and the dodgy keeper.
Chilwell, my guy.
Yeah.
And but again, there's still rumour to buy in a goalkeeper, right? The Lille, is it Lille goalkeeper? No, Rennes goalkeeper. The Rennes goalkeeper.
Is Kepa that bad? Did he cost them that many points last season?
I guess when you spend £70 million on a goalkeeper, there's a certain level of expectation, and I think Kepa has made some basic errors that you wouldn't expect from a world-class
goalkeeper. The number
goalkeeper.
and the nature of the mistakes is that it is magnified by the price tag, right?
Which is unfortunate. It's not his doing.
Yeah, exactly. If they paid 15 million for him,
and of course,
that he'd be given chance after chance, season after season.
There's no way, you know. There's still time for that guy to grow and into that price tag and be that goalkeeper. So I wouldn't count him out. But I think Chelsea fans are thinking, get a quick fix in.
Yeah.
If we want to win the league or try and win the league.
Your dad's a Chelsea fan. I saw a comment he made. He said about the signings. He's like, all we need now is 3 centre-halves and a keeper.
Yeah, my dad is definitely not a big fan of Kepa.
Yeah.
So that's our Premier League 1 to 20. We'll just run through and just go 1 down to 20 real quick, just to remind you guys of who we've got where. It'll be quite important for when we're totting up the points at the game at the end of the season. So I've gone City for the title. Liverpool second, Chelsea third, United, Arsenal, Leicester, Wolves, Spurs, Everton, Southampton for my top 10, Burnley, Newcastle United, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Sheffield United, West Brom, Brighton, and then Aston Villa, Fulham and West Ham United to be relegated.
Who to come bottom?
West Ham. West Ham United.
What?
Absolutely rock bottom, without a hope.
Okay. I've gone for Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Wolves, Everton, Southampton and Leicester in the top 10. Sheffield United, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Leeds, West Ham, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Fulham and West Brom.
To be relegated, yeah.
So I'm going to do reverse. I've done West Brom, Fulham, Brighton to go down. Villa, Sheffield United, West Ham, 15th. Newcastle, Palace, Leeds, Burnley, Leicester 10th. Everton, Wolves, Southampton, top 6. Spurs, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, City, Liverpool.
Fab.
Awesome. Good stuff, boys. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a nice introduction to the new season.
Yeah.
Good
Excited.
chat.
It's good to see who comes where.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the following episode. We're going to be talking about assist kings, goal scorers, golden glove, and of course that sack race, which you probably already know who I'm going to be picking based on my my league position. But it's going to be interesting. So until tomorrow, thank you and goodbye.